I actually want to talk to you about your front end swap on your Chrysler 300C. Remove the front end to a Magnum front end. Okay, number one, was it an easy swap?
Yeah, really easy. So what you need to change it is hood fenders, front bumper cover, and the headlights. And the one thing everyone forgets is the upper rad saddle, because where your headlights mount on, it's the piece that goes across the top of the rad where your brake lines go in. It is completely different than a 300, and it's just for headlight mounting. So you need that. But other than that, so once you get all those components, it's bolt on, and it's not plug and play if you went from, like I did, 300C with HID, because you've got your HID system on it. So if you take your plug that goes to the HID ballast on the factory 300C headlights,
Right.
if you cut those off, leave the bare wires, what I did was I took Magnum headlights. It's color coded left and right is identical, so you can literally solder butt connector whatever you want.
Yeah.
Identical color coded to it. You're just fused higher. I can't remember if it's 40 or 50 amps.
Yeah.
You're fused higher to support the HID ballast. But other than that, it works perfectly. It's the only thing that's kind of like questionable on it, if you're not sure. But yeah, no, it works perfect. The other oddball thing I did is anyone with the 300C that knows this, that has the headlight washer fluid sprayers, completely ridiculous, and it launches like over the roof of the car. On the Magnum, your bumper's on slightly different angle right in front of the headlight, and I don't know anyone that wants to keep that option anyway, because it dumps half your washer fluid that you want in the windshield just on the front end of the car. I switched my washer fluid pump out, so I left the bigger reservoir for the 300. I switched the pump out to have one output, not two outputs, and it just goes to the windshield.
Oh, so you have more into the windshield then?
Yeah,
I
gotcha. I switched the pumps out.
Yeah.
So it deletes the front headlight sprayers.
Yeah.
But then I also keep the bigger reservoir because it has a big reservoir because it's wasting half of it normally on 300C.
Makes sense. So for anyone that wants to do this similar swap, can you go step by step? What was your first step in doing this? So you got the 300, and then what'd you do? Did you get? Did you buy?
Talk to a friend of mine that has junk laying around that he says he'll use, but he never will. And he had a black 05 Magnum 3, Magnum front end off an 05, black, same black as my car was. So I talked to him, and I had a parts car, I had a donor car, but you do the research, you figure out, like, hey, that washer fluid pump's not something I thought of in the first place. Yeah. Something I ran into. The only other thing I ran into, which actually wasn't an issue, because, so your fog lights aren't interchangeable, but if you get them with a new front bumper, it's fine, the plugs are the same, and the wires are all the same. Yeah. The other thing I noticed was, because with HIDs, you don't, so when you're driving around, you got low beam on, that's your HIDs in the 300. You put high beam on, it adds the high beam to it. Okay. So you've got your HIDs on plus high beam. Yeah. Halogens don't do that. Magnums don't do that, right? You switch beam when you flick it on. Yeah. Because they didn't change any of the electronics or anything behind 300 itself. Yeah. When I wired everything up, I keep my low beams on, and then when I flick high beam, I get my high beams as well. So it's just kind of an added bonus.
So there is some wiring to it, for sure.
There's some wiring, but it's literally direct color coded.
Oh, it's direct color coded. Okay, yeah. Direct color coded. That's for sure.
So if the plug's going to the ballast on each headlight, cut them off. It's the same as the halogens. If it doesn't line up, if you cut them off the Magnum and you cut them off your 300, and you're like, oh, that doesn't line up because I ran into this. Yeah. Like, how do I know which one's which? Oh, I had left and right mixed up. Right. They are color coded. It's easy as hell.
How was removing the bumper?
Bit of clips in the wheel well, and it was an 8 or 7 mil on the bottom valence. And you take that off, and then once you get all the clips done at the front of the wheel well, right by the bumper. Yeah. There's a 10 mil you put up inside, and you loosen off right to the rad saddle.
Each side.
And there's on each side, and it slots out the front bumper. Okay. And you can pop that off, and on the top there's 4 or 6, depending on if it's a Magnum or a 300 front bumper. On the top of the upper rad support, you just pop clips. It comes right off.
And then so at that time, do you work on your fenders? You gotta replace the fenders too.
I do the bumper first, right? Yeah. You get all that sorted out. Yeah. And then after you've got that sorted out, going onto the rocker cover at the bottom of the fenders. Yeah. And there's like pop rivets on that. You pop that off, and you can undo the bottom fenders and take the wheel well out. You want to pop the wheel well out of the fender, because once you do that, you can pop. You got the front bumper off, everything's off. You just pop 2 or 3 spots. Just pop in clips. Yeah. Pop the wheel well out, get it out of the fender, lay it on the tire, say, jacked up, and then you can get in there with extensions. Yeah. And you can take out the bolts that bolt the fender. Where it's slotted too for alignment. Yeah. You take out just back them off, loosen them. All the bolts right by the front door. And then there's a couple bolts at the front of the fender right by the headlight you'll see easily. And you take the fender off.
So you actually need Magnum fenders.
Yeah.
And then they bolt onto
direct
the
line up
chassis
on Magnum
thing.
fenders.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So 3 things. You need the Magnum, obviously, front end.
Yeah.
You need the Magnum fenders.
You need the 2 fenders, the hood, the upper
The
rest.
hood too?
The hood's different.
Oh, yeah.
So you need the 2 fenders,
The hood.
the 2 headlights,
Yeah.
the hood, and the front bumper, and the upper rad support. And if you're not a V6, if you're going 300C like mine, you need the wire harness, basically where it goes on the back of the halogen bulb on the Magnum light. You need to cut that wire so you can splice it onto the wire harness of the car for the C. It's going from HID to halogen.
And that's the parts list.
That's it. That's all you need.
Okay. And how long did it take you?
Well, I wasn't using it, so it sat for a while. But actual working on it.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, if you just listen to all this, you can pop a question if you have it down in the comment section. But once you know all the info, it should take an afternoon. Like you could do it between noon and 4 or 5.
Nice.
It's
if you have all the parts.
It's just nuts and bolts. Yeah. And once you have all the parts, it's nuts and bolts. It's literally just plug and play. And if you're HID to halogen, again, as long as you have the socket and all that, it's a matter of butt connecting or soldering. Like it's simple. It's all simple.
And you recommend a donor car? Because if you bought all this off Rock Auto, it'd probably be a pretty penny. Ish, or is it similar price?
Well, it depends. Like a donor car is always good, but go to a wrecking yard, go anywhere. Like if you forgot something like the bulb sockets for the halogen, right? You can get that on Rock Auto for like $10 a piece, and you only need 2 of them. Like it don't matter. You just gotta then know they're not gonna be color coded. They're aftermarket. Right. So just take your time, go through it. It'll have a diagram with the socket.
Yeah.
So you can figure out which, and then you need the car's end, figure out which wire does what, and do it. It's not a big deal, but if you were to buy it all new, it shouldn't be ridiculous because the front bumper covers on a Magnum I can get for like 160 Canadian painted online new. Aftermarket, right?
You're saying.
You can get headlights for about $100 for the pair of Canadian new.
Yeah.
Fenders are fenders on everything. You shouldn't have a hard time finding Magnum fenders. And a hood, everyone's got a Magnum hood.
Yeah.
I know people without Magnums that have a Magnum hood.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
It's not a hard thing to find. So if you want to do it aftermarket, the only thing I don't know that you're going to find is the upper rad support to mount the headlights on. Because I haven't looked, I don't know on the aftermarket availability of that. And if you bought it from a dealer, I'm sure it's probably a bunch of money.
Gotcha. So that's probably where you should try to find something yourself,
But
right?
if you find a Magnum anywhere,
Bobby Jones.
rip the front end off it, you're fine.
And what year is your bumper?
I'm 05 to 05 on mine.
Nice.
My car's an 05 and the Magnum's an 05.
I know all the Magnum guys, they want the 08, right? Is it a bit different?
Yeah, like I like it, and I don't like it on a Magnum.
Yeah.
It looks okay on a 300.
Yeah.
But the bigger headlights, I find the headlights are they just seem too small for the size of the car.
Yeah.
That's personal preference. It's everyone's personal preference.
No, it is.
But if you want to do it with an 08, if you find an 08 front end at a wrecking yard, you're going to pay way more for it.
Yeah.
If you find 08 readily available aftermarket stuff, you're going to pay way more for it. For what different?
Yeah.
If that's what we want to do, go for it.
At the end of the day, so you've driven this setup for over a year. How's the driving? Is it like flawless? Is this like you don't have to worry about anything?
The front end swap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lights work.
Front end swap's the only thing that works perfectly on the car. Rest of the car.
Oh man, that's Alex for you.
It's got this problem here, this little problem there.
Yeah.
But it's the only thing. Like I've done all the work to that.
Yeah.
And we repainted the entire front end too. And I've never had a glitch, not even with the wiring.
Oh.
Never had a glitch. Haven't even had a bulb pop. The only problems I have with the car aren't related to that swap.
Yeah. So there you go. That's probably a good mod you could start with. I wouldn't recommend, I guess, but like Bob's your uncle.
I would. 300.
No, I'm just talking shit because how many videos did we do? There was the Magnum with 300 swap. That was my point. That was I was trying to get.
And that's 100% on point because I'm pretty sure, like in my opinion, Chrysler got it backwards. Is the Magnums look 10 times better, 300 front end.
300 front end.
And those look like a mean animal that no one ever
They
produced,
do.
the 300, but the Magnum knows.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they both fit. I just think they got it backwards.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because each one's uncommon on its own nature. I don't know.
I wonder. So even though there was, I remember we did a video. There was the Magnum with the Charger. I'm assuming the both the fenders had to be replaced as well.
Well, we did a Magnum with a new 300 front end.
Yeah.
Did that, and we've done them with the Charger, and with either one of those scenarios, whether it's a newer 300 or a newer Charger, even the older Charger, you've got to cut and graft in the fenders.
Ooh, for real?
Yeah, they don't line up.
Oh, damn.
The only things that line up are the old 300 and the Magnum are the only body lines that perfectly, like, you just slap on and call it a day. Everything else has to be cut and grafted into itself.